analysis: Celtics versus Heat. First playoffs, 2nd May 2024. This May 2nd matchup marked the deciding game of the Eastern Conference first-round playoff series between the Boston Celtics and the Miami Heat. The Celtics emerged victorious with a commanding 118-84 win, securing a dominant 4-1 series win. The Heat faced a significant challenge going into the game, playing without their star player Jimmy Butler due to injury. Butler's absence left a major hole in Miami's offensive firepower, which ultimately proved to be a deciding factor in the series. The Boston Celtics entered Game 5 with one goal: close out the series on their home court. Their offense reflected that urgency, putting on a dominant display that effectively buried the Miami Heat. The Celtics wasted no time asserting their dominance. They erupted for a franchise playoff record 41 points in the first quarter, shooting a blistering 52.9% from the field and an even more impressive 66.7% from three-point range. This hot start set the tone for the entire game, demoralizing the Heat and putting them on their heels from the very beginning. The Celtics rained threes on the Heat throughout the first half, led by Derrick White, who knocked down 5 three-pointers in the first quarter alone. Boston finished the half shooting 10 for 22, 45.5% from beyond the arc. This success was not just about open looks. The Celtics displayed excellent shot selection, moving the ball crisply and finding open shooters off screens and dribble drives. Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, Boston's usual offensive leaders, also chipped in with timely threes, keeping the Heat defense honest and preventing them from focusing solely on shutting down one player. While the three-point barrage was a major factor, the Celtics' offense wasn't a one-trick pony. They effectively complemented their outside shooting with a balanced scoring attack. Jaylen Brown, often overshadowed by Tatum, exploded for 25 points on a highly efficient 10 of 15 shooting night. He attacked the rim aggressively, drawing fouls and finishing strong at the basket. Derrick White, the surprise hero of the game, continued his hot streak, finishing with a career-high 25 points. Even Al Horford, starting in place of the injured Kristaps Porzingis, chipped in with 8 points and 6 rebounds, providing valuable contributions off the bench. The Celtics meticulously exploited Miami's defensive weaknesses throughout the game. With Jimmy Butler out, the Heat lacked a reliable perimeter defender to contain Boston's guards. Players like White and Peyton Pritchard repeatedly used screens and dribble moves to create space for open three-point attempts. Additionally, Miami's interior defense struggled against Boston's size advantage. When the Heat opted to switch on screens, mismatches arose, allowing Brown and Tatum to exploit slower defenders in the post. This constant variety in offensive tactics kept the Heat defense guessing and scrambling, unable to find any answers. The Miami Heat entered the game while hoping to extend the series, but their night unfolded as a frustrating display of offensive ineptitude and defensive breakdowns. The Heat's offense, heavily reliant on three-point shooting, completely sputtered from deep. They finished the game shooting a dismal 28.6% from three-point range, 8 for 28. This inefficiency stemmed from a combination of factors. Firstly, Boston's perimeter defense was excellent, contesting shots tightly and disrupting Miami's rhythm. Secondly, the Heat themselves seemed to force shots, especially early in the game when they were trailing by a significant margin. Many of their attempts were contested threes, further diminishing their chances of success. The Heat's offense lacked its usual fluidity and creativity. With Jimmy Butler out, their primary offensive engine was missing. Kyle Lowry, tasked with carrying a heavier offensive load, struggled with his shot selection and decision-making. The Celtics' aggressive defense effectively shut down Miami's passing lanes, forcing them into one-on-one situations where isolated players couldn't create consistent scoring opportunities. Additionally, the lack of spacing caused by Boston's collapsing defense made it difficult for the Heat's big men to operate effectively in the paint. The Celtics' offensive dominance was further amplified by the Heat's defensive lapses. Throughout the game, Miami's communication on switches and rotations appeared sluggish. This led to mismatches that the Celtics exploited ruthlessly. For instance, Boston's guards repeatedly targeted mismatches against Bam Adebayo on the perimeter, leaving him scrambling to contest shots. Additionally, the Heat's interior defense struggled to contain Boston's size advantage. Al Horford and Robert Williams III were able to establish deep post positions with ease, creating scoring opportunities for themselves or kicking out to open shooters. As mentioned earlier, the Celtics' record-breaking 41-point first quarter was a pivotal moment. It completely demoralized the Heat and put them in a deep hole from the very beginning. The Heat never truly recovered from this onslaught, struggling to keep pace throughout the remaining quarters. White's unexpected offensive outburst, particularly his 5 three-pointers in the first quarter, played a significant role in shifting momentum. It forced the Heat to adjust their defensive strategy and instilled confidence in the Celtics' entire offense. Coach Udoka clearly emphasized an aggressive offensive approach from the start. This resulted in a flurry of three-point attempts and put immense pressure on the Heat's defense. Udoka likely identified mismatches Miami's defense would present with Jimmy Butler out. He exploited these by utilizing screens and dribble drives to create favorable matchups for Boston's scorers. The Celtics' defensive strategy, focused on contesting Miami's three-pointers and disrupting passing lanes, proved highly effective. Udoka likely maintained this strategy throughout the game, trusting his players' execution. Spoelstra attempted to adjust the Heat's defense after the Celtics' hot first quarter. He likely implemented strategies like switching on screens and zone defense to disrupt Boston's rhythm. However, these adjustments proved ineffective. With Jimmy Butler out, Spoelstra likely focused on a more perimeter-oriented offensive scheme, relying on guards like Kyle Lowry and Tyler Herro to create scoring opportunities. While this strategy aimed to exploit Boston's size advantage in the paint, it ultimately backfired due to Miami's struggles from three-point range. Well, this game served as the final nail in the coffin for the Miami Heat. The Celtics' dominant performance solidified their 4-1 series win and showcased their clear advantage over a depleted Heat squad. The Celtics' early lead demoralized the Heat and prevented them from establishing any rhythm throughout the series. This game exposed the Heat's vulnerabilities: over-reliance on three-point shooting and lack of offensive depth without Jimmy Butler. The Celtics' dominant win served as a major confidence boost heading into the Eastern Conference semifinals. For the Miami Heat, this loss raises several questions for the offseason. Jimmy Butler's health will be a primary concern. The Heat's struggles without him highlight his irreplaceable role. The need for a more reliable offensive creator besides Butler becomes apparent. Plus, the coaching staff will need to reassess their defensive strategies to counter teams that exploit mismatches. In a nutshell, the Boston Celtics delivered a masterclass in offensive efficiency and defensive strategy in Game 5. Their hot shooting, balanced scoring attack, and exploitation of Miami's weaknesses led to a decisive victory. This win solidified their series dominance and established them as a serious contender in the Eastern Conference.